How's it going, folks? Welcome back to another Pokemon Unite video here on YouTube. It's patch day! So not only did we get Greedent, a brand new melee defender added to the game that we'll be going over at the end of this video, but we got a number of balance patches, both buffs and nerfs. Let's run through and talk about them a little bit here. So first up, we got some changes on Pikachu, which these changes are... They're obviously strict upgrades, but they're upgrades to the attacks that largely don't get picked on Pikachu, so it's hard to say if this is going to actually change Pikachu's place in the metagame. So both the base damage and the ratios, and what ratio refers to here is how well your damage on these moves scales off of your special attack. So basically, you get 2% better scaling on special attack. So if Pikachu had, say, 100 special attack, this attack now does 120, where previously it would have done 118. And obviously, the special attack numbers are much larger than that, but that's just to give you an idea of what this means. And this is the number you're scaling off of here. So I think Thunder is the one of these two attacks I'm most interested in checking out. Between Thunder and Thunderbolt, I think Pikachu's like farm clear with bees and stuff is probably going to be pretty reasonable. And I had been inclined to take Thunder for testing before this upgrade. I think with this upgrade, Thunder will probably be a real competitor for Electro Ball, and I'll definitely be trying that out on the channel here at some point in the not too distant future. Volt Tackle, I honestly just don't think Volt Tackle is a pickable move, especially in 5 stacks. It might be fine in solos where people are a little bit disorganized, but the core problem with Volt Tackle wasn't that it just didn't do enough damage, which it didn't, so the damage upgrade is nice, but you can take damage while Volt Tackling, so you like Volt Tackle into a group of opponents, and like while you're stunning the one opponent, the rest of their team will just melt you, and Pikachu is not a durable Pokemon, so unless they put iframes on Volt Tackle, giving you some invulnerability while you're stunning the thing, I just don't think this attack is going to be something that you'll ever pick over Thunderbolt, just because of Pikachu's lack of mobility and how squishy it is. Slowbro got a really solid upgrade here. They not only reduced the cooldown by 33% or so here, but they also they almost doubled the amount that it heals you back up. So that could be a very reasonable thing to be taking on Slowbro for a more tanky build. Gengar now gets 12.5% spell vamp starting at level 5, meaning you heal off of your spells that you cast. And Shadow Ball Dream Eater Gengar has seemed kind of sweet in the past. Goof.gg plays it a lot, and I've been inclined to try it, and this will give it more sustain in those fights. One of the things that's always been a problem with Gengar is it's kind of squishy as a melee attacker, and giving it some way to recover inside of combat seems very reasonable. Blastoise here is technically a side grade because these aren't all nerfs, but overall I think Blastoise is going to be much worse than it was previously. Probably still playable. I think Blastoise was pretty close, if not S tier, before this patch, and scaling its damage down I think makes a lot of sense. Blastoise did a ton of damage for a defender, so you can see basically all strict downgrades here, both in the ratio and the base damage with Hydro Pump, which was kind of the default. Nobody was taking Water Spout since they fixed the Spin Spouts configuration. They reduced the cooldown here on Water Spout, so maybe this move is takeable. I'd be kind of surprised if this, even with the cooldown reduction and the damage reduction here, if Spouts is still better than Hydro Pump, because Hydro Pump is still going to be better at Spouts at last hitting food, which makes Wartortle much better in lane if you're taking Hydro Pump. The big downgrade here is the Unite move, though. Blastoise's Unite before this nerf was easily the best Unite in the game, and this is a big downgrade here. So what, we've lost almost 50% here, and we lost 30 to 40% here. So the ratio went down on your special attack, and your base here also went down. So we'll see. I imagine this is still good because it does CC in addition to doing damage, but it'll be a little bit less good than before. Venusaur definitely needed some nerfs here, and I kind of like what they did with this here. So they dropped the damage resistance, and they dropped the ratio on the healing a small bit, and they dropped the base damage a little bit too. And the damage, how much you heal is based on how much damage you deal, I believe. So dropping the damage here does also mean you're dropping how much you heal. But something that's noteworthy here, while the damage resistance is still dropped at Giga Drain Plus, the ratios here actually went up for Giga Drain Plus, which is not nothing. And then one other thing they did here is they made Solar Beam do extra damage. So it does max HP tick 1%. Now it does 1.5%. And it'll be interesting to see, does this Solar Beam increase make this move pickable over Petal Dance? It feels like they're kind of massaging the moves on a lot of these Pokemon to try and get them into a spot where all their moves are potentially pickable in different configurations or compositions. That's a great thing for them to be doing, I think. The big one, Lucario. So at the base, they kind of just took a little bit off the top of Lucario's attack stat, losing 5 at the first level and losing 11 here, it looks like, at the top level. This is pretty marginal, all things considered. It's like a 3 to 4% decrease. I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't very noticeable. The bigger changes here are, first off, the Steadfast passive is its cooldowns increasing from 30 to 60 seconds, which is a huge increase because, the games are only 10 minutes long in Unite. So this goes from something that could have been triggering, half a dozen or more times per game regularly to, if you're staying in these fights, it's going to be triggering half as often. And especially in that 1-1-3 composition, if you have 2 people up top against the Lucario and the Lucario's passive is only triggering half as often, there's a much better chance you can actually pressure it off. Now, they nerf Power Up Punch again here. So it no longer increases attack and instead changes its ratio to full charge. I'm not 100% sure what this means. So the ratio, I assume, means based off of attack, and then the base damage is going down here as well. There's also something mentioned that this was behaving in a way that was buggy. So I think I'm gonna have to see how this plays out in terms of games. I also find it interesting that they're never touching Extreme Speed or Bone Club. This is the second or third time they've touched explicitly Power Up Punch. So maybe their metrics say they're pretty happy with what Extreme Speed is doing. But honestly, if this makes Power Up Punch that much worse, we could just see Lucario still do Lucario things and just push towards Extreme Speed being the default instead of Power Up Punch being the default. Garchomp, they're still trying to give Daddy Chomp some love. They increased his attack speed by 14% at the base level, and it got almost a 30% increase at the top level. And then Dragon Rush got pushed up again here. So this is a pretty big damage increase on both the ratio and the base attack here. So I was a fan of taking Digs. It really didn't have that little bit of wind up that Dragon Rush has, but this is honestly probably enough damage increase at this point that I would be surprised if Dragon Rush is not the ideal one. A couple other bug fixes, and then other things here is Zapdos now drops less energy when KO'd. And Cerebi here, another site that kind of farms things, mentions that the main person that kills it, so I say that's the person that kills it, gets 30, and then everybody else used to get 20, and now everybody else gets 15. And now another change that happened was the person that KO'd it no longer gets the extra boost as well. So it used to be that if you KO'd Zapdos, it basically puts you to full energy. Now it will only put you to 30. I'd kind of be surprised if this is a meaningfully different change. It's a very small amount of point difference. And one of the things to think about is that when Zapdos is going on, usually a team fight or several had occurred where the Zapdos is before the bird actually dies, and there's plenty of just Eos energies littered on the battlefield that you can grab after the bird dies. So I'd kind of be surprised if this changes the Zapdos part of the game in any meaningful way. Now, Dreadnought gives less shields when KO'd. It also gives less experience when KO'd, and this is very vague. So the question is going to be, does this decrease change what is going on in terms of Dreadnaught's importance? Now, obviously, this is just my gut feeling talk. We're going to have to see how it plays out in practice and the tournament players in the top level. But my gut says this probably doesn't mean, unless they made the XP gain from Dreadnought super negligible, I'd be kind of surprised if this is good. And here's the reason why. So they made Rotom get a little bit more movement speed, attack, and HP or whatever when it starts heading for the goal. But I also don't think that this helps the Rotom at all. So the fundamental problem with Rotom, and you'll note this if you've watched my 5-stack games before, is that my groups, I largely direct us to ignore Rotom because breaking our outer point means that we get those side dinos, which gives us extra experience compared to the opposing team. So generally speaking, Rotom cracking your first goal is a good thing for your team. It's kind of like an inverse Dreadnought, if you would. Dreadnought gives your team experience. Rotom gives the opposing team extra experience, which is one of the reasons why it's just so mediocre. I honestly feel like they need to add something or change something with Rotom, like something that would make Rotom worthwhile. If you break your opponent's goal while Rotom is active, your opponent doesn't get side dinos. That would make Rotom worth taking. You break your opponent's goal with Rotom or you capture Rotom, you start getting side dinos even though your outer point's not broken. As long as Rotom is an experience negative objective, it's not even experience neutral, it's experience negative because you're giving the opposing team farm that you're not getting as well. I feel like it's going to struggle to be relevant as an objective. Now, not just balance patch today. We got a new friend. Look at how happy he is to be inside of Pokemon Unite, chat. He's so excited to be here. So, Greedent Melee Defender scales off of attack. Every third attack deals increased damage and causes a berry to drop from the user's tail. Whenever this Pokemon eats a berry, it recovers HP and receives the effects of the berry. At the same time, it stashes another berry in its tail. Being hit by an attack or combination attack causes the berry to drop. Now, I am told that your opponents and teammates can pick these berries up. The fact that opponents can take them as well is going to make combat kind of interesting and chaotic, I think. So I'm interested to see how this plays out. We're going to be playing Greedent in a 5-stack all afternoon on my Twitch channel, and the highlights likely tomorrow and the day after will be focused around the new cheeky Pokemon here. Starts off with a tackle, which is a great move to start with, having a little bit of mobility on your melee character, as well as being able to last hit Pokemon reasonably if the scale is okay. And then upgrades into one of two range attacks. So Bullet Seed has the user spit berries in the designated direction, dealing damage to opposing Pokemon and decreasing their movement speed for a short time. The more berries you have stashed away, the more damage this move deals. And then Belch deals damage to the opposing Pokemon in area effect and decreases their movement speed. The user has berries in its tail, all are consumed, and reduces this thing's cooldown, which is interesting, and then increases the damage dealt by this move. So this one's kind of just a wave in front of you, kind of similar to Dazzling Gleam. Our second attack here is Defense Curl, which gives a shield for a short time. It also drops you a berry, so it can heal you or a teammate a little bit as well. Then you upgrade into either Stuffed Cheeks here, which drops several berries, and then also can not only give you HP, but also a shield. If the user catches sight of a berry while using this move, its movement speed is increased for a short time. So it seems like even though Greedent is labeled as a defender, this could be a very good support Pokemon. It'll be interesting to see if this kind of diversifies that role where kind of Eldegoss or Blissey were a must pick. Perhaps this will be a third kind of support character / healer. And we have Covet here. Has the user run with all its might, dealing damage to opposing Pokemon it hits and throwing them. When running, it drops berries. If the user eats a drop berry, its movement speed gets increased. The more berries it eats, the more movement speed is increased. In addition, you could use Belch or Bullet Seed while running. Seems sweet. And then Berry Belly Flop. Has it eat a berry to recover some HP, and then leaps forward, dealing damage to opposing Pokemon, throwing them. Then the user eats a special berry, allowing it to stash an unlimited amount of berries in its tail for a short time, resetting the cooldown of its move. So this, the other moves mentioned that they get used more frequently the more berries you have, and this puts a bunch of berries in your thing, so this lets you just like spam Belch and stuff, which seems like it could be very powerful at chunking people down. All right. Let's dive into the practice area here and see what a couple of these moves look like in actual execution. All right, let's see what our squirrely boy can do. Let's start with Tackle. It's a pretty decent range. It's a very, very quick windup here too. Okay, so those are Those are our berries we're dropping from our autos. So we defense curl and it drops a berry way out in front. Clear seems alright. How much does a tackle do? Tackle does a decent amount. Let's get the practice options here and crank up our level some, huh? Let's start with Stuffed Cheeks. Let's get up to our Unite here. So Stuffed Cheeks and Bullet Seed to start. Then we'll use our Unite. Interesting. Okay, so Bullet Seed just starts firing out in front of you as soon as you press it. Press the button. What does Stuffed Cheeks do? Okay, so it fills us up. Oh! The Bullet Seed fires. Okay, so we could Stuff Cheeks, grab a bunch of berries. Okay. Now, this is a Zera that's 3 levels under us because we leveled ourselves up. Worth noting. So Stuff Cheeks. Stuff the cheeks up. Do a bunch of damage. Okay. This is our... Oh, that's a chunky range. There's quite the windup on that. It fills our cheeks to full. Oh, yeah. See, he just ate my berry and healed a little bit. That's gonna be... It's gonna be an interesting dynamic trying to see. Let's do the practice options and turn off move cooldowns here real quick and see how quickly we melt this Dreadnought. Alright. I mean, I didn't have a cooldown on the Bullet Seed, so it probably would have melted it a little bit less fast. Alright, let's take a look at Greedent's other 2 attacks here real quick. Alright, so we're level 9. What does Covet do? Run around dealing a bunch of damage? Throwing berries out while we go? Looks like... Man, that is a wide range on Belch. Oh. Wow. Okay, so Belch, I do not have the cooldowns off right now. So what happened there was we were full on this. So once I do this, I can Belch. And then the Belch is just reset right away because I had a bunch of berries in my pouch. So that's what it means. So the ticks underneath me are the amount of berries I have. And when I do this, it looks like my cooldown is shortened by 1 second for every berry in my pouch. Wow. Okay, and I am level 9 here. So like, because I wanted to get to the Unite, but it's a pretty quick B clear for level 9. I've just got Muscle Band on right now. Like this will, I wonder if Greedent could be a split pusher. This does a little bit of CC while it's going on too. Yeah, you just like, all right, I'm full on berries, so I just like belch you, chunk you, belch you again. Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh. Oh, is that? So after you... Okay, there's no way Belch isn't the take. So, after the Unite move gets used, you're just full berries for a little while, and Belch is just no cooldown because you're full berries for a little while. Let's collect some of these and put some things in here and get our Unite move back up so we can show that again here real quick. Remember, every time you score AOS energy, no matter how much you're scoring, you get 10% back. Our Unite seems to charge very quickly too. Okay, this is, I do not have reduced cooldowns on. So this is just normal gameplay. So I'm level 11. Let's jump this Dreadnought with the Unite. Whoa. That, okay. Alrighty then. I think I'm not gonna be hyperbolic and say like anything we haven't played in actual games yet needs nerfs, but this feels like it's got potential to be a meta Pokemon here. Oh god, because you can belch while you run. Oh man, this character is sweet. You just like you can belch while you do it. Just grabbing these with your low cooldown belch. Give me that berry. Stuff them cheeks, boy. Stuff them. 1 second cooldown with 3 berries. The B clear is impressive. Okay. Yeah, this character's sweet. I'm excited to jam with it this afternoon. If you want to watch me play this live for an entire session, we're going to be playing it for a couple hours this afternoon on my live stream. And then I'll get highlight videos up here on the highlights channel tomorrow and Thursday at a minimum. Maybe more than that if this character's gas. So first week, usually I try to highlight a new character every day here. But first week something's out. We'll give it a little bit extra love to showcase what it's got going on. All right. I think I'm a fan of the new Squirrely Boy, fam. Seems sweet. Thanks for being one of the awesome people that made it all the way to the end of the video. Remember, if you enjoyed the content and you want to help me grow, tap that like button and leave a comment down below. If you want more Hoaglandia after watching this, there's tons of other highlights here on the channel. You can also find me live on twitch.tv/Jeff Hoagland 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. You can find my thoughts being spewed on social media at twitter.com/Jeff Hoagland constantly. I'll be back tomorrow here on YouTube with another brand new highlight. Thanks for watching, folks.